If you're looking for the latest in hotel, restaurant, and retail technology, stay tuned right here to Tech Advisor Media.
Rob Grimes with Tech Advisor Media. I'm here with Jeremy Rock of RockIT, or Go RockIT, as I've been now told to say. And we're just sort of going to have a chat about some things that we're seeing here at HITEC. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So, what have you seen here? Is there something that's jumped out at you since you know what's going on? Anything interesting?
Not anything that's jumped out. I think there's more of a high-tech approach to the whole thing. I think there's a lot of buzzwords going on. We've seen a lot of the typical mobility side of things that are being shown here. A lot of the in-room technology. There's obviously a buzzword on GPON right now with a lot of fiber to the room. Some issues.
Well, you spend a lot of time designing things that go on in the room.
Yeah, no, I mean this is exactly where where our kind of our sweet spot is, and from a low voltage standpoint. But I think one of the things that we're sort of seeing is, what's happening with IPTV, what's happening with some of the providers of more traditional type systems. Certainly different in the marketplace here in the US versus, let's just say, Asia Pac, et cetera, or some of the other areas.
Are you seeing those technologies actually here at HITEC, or are you seeing them outside of HITEC in the industry?
Well, we see it both ways. The interesting part about it is to see, the different play from each provider, what the target market audience is that they're trying to go after. But I think the technology that I'm seeing here in the US, we're pulling back on a lot of of the systems that we've traditionally seen in the past. But we're trying to I don't want to say explode, but you're going after more room automation type solutions, e-guest solutions, etc. But the real question is, what do these products cost? And how we're going to be able to deploy them. What is the infrastructure?
Don't those costs come down, though, as the consumer market starts to adopt them?
Sure. I mean, in fact, one of the observations that I had just looking at, the overall floor, etc., is that it looks a lot more techy this year. You're seeing more things that are mobile,
It's
the
techy
screens.
because of the applications, not necessarily because of the hardware pieces.
No, I think the hardware as well. I mean, the flat screens have changed, smart TVs have changed.
Curved flat screens?
No, curved flat screens are going to be a little bit out there, but I mean, I think...
I'm trying to figure out whether that one's actually going to be a fad or a trend going forward.
You got 4K TV that is, I haven't really seen much of a buzz on. That's just been released in terms of, the resolution on that and what's going to happen with that. But are they going to be able to deliver content on it? I think a lot of this is, we're seeing a lot of, obviously, cloud-based solutions, etc., that are taking more of a foothold. Obviously, a lot of mergers and purchases and things that have affected
various
things.
So a lot of conversation about that. What about connecting with the guests? Because when you take a look at the room, I still talk to people about what's going on in the room, and it seems like they've taken the attitude of, we'll go ahead and we'll put a tablet down here, and maybe you can control some things from the tablet, but really connecting with the guest when they walk in with their apps that maybe they're part of the affinity. It doesn't seem like that they're totally there yet.
Well, the problem with it is that you want to customize it, you want to get it in. Everyone's still struggling with the fact of do I go that route? There are a number of providers, as you know, that have an all-round solution. But it's got to be engineered. Everybody says, well, push the mobile side, but can you control the in-room technology? And then the other back end of it is, are you prepared, for example, if you want to have an app and you want to have a point of sale side, etc., are you prepared on the back end of it to deploy it? So
people don't think about that, but that also includes not the traditional guys, but the startups that come from nowhere, think they have some great idea for the hospitality industry. Let's just make this. And they never thought about the back end. They never thought about any of those.
There's a lot of front end stuff here. There's no question. But to that point, there are others that are thinking about what are they doing on the back end, the integration, and interfacing on the back end. But I think most properties don't realize how much work is entailed on the back end.
Right.
Biggest thing from my perspective out of everything is wireless technology. If we have wireless, a more robust wireless system in place that's designed to accommodate all these systems, then you can deploy it. You don't have it in place, you can't rely on the cellular networks right now. There's still cellular deficiencies at a lot of properties. We have new standards coming out from a wireless standpoint anyway. We have more integration and VLANs going on from all these different systems. Who owns the network is a big issue for me, because we're deploying a wireless network, and at the same time, who owns it? Because you know, in the past it could have been the hotel or the operator or someone else deploying that network. Nowadays, whoever deploys that wireless network, truthfully, is controlling and all of the other networks.
Have you found that location-based systems or beam technologies are finding their way into hospitality?
Yeah, well, I mean, the location-based technologies are there. I think the question is how you use and the privacy associated with that is going to be the key issue. For me, when you look at location-based technologies, they can be really interesting because the question is, where does Big Brother sort of step in? But at the same time, they can load balance a particular property in terms of where things go. You can use wayfinding features and direct people to go places.
Right.
So there's a lot of
certainly
advantages.
People like the cruise ships, certainly Disney, have done a lot of that to direct people certain ways and then integrate the signage and everything else with it.
Perfect example right there.
For the resort.
Yeah.
And is there anything in your travels that you've seen outside the U.S. that you think is just, it's going to find its way here that you believe just they've made such advances somewhere else in the world and eventually will come around?
I don't think we've seen anything that's way out there. What I do see is more, for example, IPTV solution providers, etc., out there, because the technology that is displaced in other parts of the world, what we have here in the United States in terms of the cable companies, in terms of satellite providers, etc., they don't have that kind of robustness over there. So there is more of an IPTV platform or a video on demand or in-room entertainment system platform that's out there, more companies. But in terms of technology, I mean, the US has always been, here and has a good foothold on things. So the early adopters typically are from here. It's changing though. A lot of the providers have some great ideas on the international front, and I think you're going to see a lot of technology be provided.
And it really is a global marketplace.
Totally global
which I think just sort of changes it around. So on a personal basis, you see a lot of technologies, you follow what's going on. So what's on your wish list of the one thing that's out there that you want for Christmas this year or something that somebody should give you?
It's kind of funny and it's going to sound really dumb, but when we set up our home, we set it up years ago with all these flat screen TVs, and they're outdated now. The energy.
So
it's like I'm sitting there going, the smart TVs are really cool. I've got some great TVs and stuff throughout the house, but the problem is I need to upgrade that and streamline it and then just get everything else.
I have the same issue going on. I got some great, HD TVs. Then I added the little boxes so I could get all the internet channels, and now I'm starting to buy the smart TVs that all have that integrated, but sometimes they don't have all the channels. So I'm trying to figure that's probably on my wish list as well.
And that's it exactly. So for example, mirror casting and all the things that you can get out of it, I haven't updated it. And the reason I haven't is because I'm a bit lazy. Some of the stuff took me a long time to engineer in the mounts. And so, I've got these special mounts and everything else, and I don't want to go through it. But that is actually something I need to do, not only because it's good for technology, but it's green.
All right, so you heard it here first. If you're buying a gift for the holidays where you need to replace all the TVs and things,
big ones.
There you go. Well, very good. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Rob Grimes for Tech Advisor TV and Tech Advisor Media here at HITEC.